Okay, the final part. So I will finish this part, then I will do the demo for bypassing the ledges. So as I told you, there are 3 tip design, and the fourth one will be this one. So you see fan shape tip. You see the fan shape? This is the new tip design. Why you need the fan shape? Because when you have a ledge on the outer wall, like in this condition, if you have an instrument with a fan shape, if you use a small up and down motion, you can easily get over the ledge into the original canal. That's why you have fan shape like this. So this is the new tip. And there are 3 techniques I want to show you today to bypass the ledge. One is hand instrumentation technique. The second one is very easy, slow rotation technique. And third one is 90-degree T-mode technique. So I use the T-mode from the motor called AI motor or 812MT. So this is the technique I use every day in my office. But you need at least 3 techniques to bypass the ledge, because when the one technique fails, you can try the second technique and the third technique. So always start with this technique, the third one. Third one is very, very efficient. If this technique failed, you can always try hand instrumentation technique, or you can try slow rotation technique. So first of all, initial procedure is the same. You need to enlarge the canal with number 3 GG bar to make a funnel shape. After making a funnel shape, you can identify or you can locate both the ledge and the original canal. After that, you can try one of the 3 techniques I'm going to show you now. So this is a hand instrumentation technique. This is very simple. I think everybody does this whenever you see the ledge. So all you have to do is use small size K file, like number 10, number 15, and pre-carve the only epical portions, epical 1 to 2 millimeters. Pre-carve it. Maybe 30 degrees, 45 degrees, or 60 degrees, depending on the curvature. So if you do that, don't rotate the file. Just press it, use small up and down motion. Then you can get over the ledge. So let me quickly show you how you do this technique. If you don't pre-carve number 10K file, this is number 10K file, you will end up being in the ledge. This is the ledge. You cannot go over the ledge with a straight instrument. But if you pre-carve the epical portion, 45 degrees, like this, I pre-carved the tip to 45 degrees. And if you put it in the canal, use small up and down motion, then you can get into the original canal. This is very simple. Once you are in the original canal, don't get out. Use small up and down motion, maybe 50 times. Then you can go to next bigger instrument. This is 15, number 15. Do the same. Once you are in the original canal, don't get out. Use small up and down motion 50 times to enlarge the original canal. Never rotate the file. If you keep doing this, then you can instrument the original canal. The ledge will be reduced. Then go to the next bigger instrument, which is number 20, then number 25, up to maybe 40. So this is very simple. And also, you can use a nickel titanium instrument with a biconical tip. Because of the biconical tip, you don't have to pre-carve the tip. So go down along the inner wall, then because of the biconical tip, if the ledge is small, then you can go over the ledge into the original canal. So you can start with S1. This is pro taper hand instrument. Start with S1, then after S1, S2, and F1. you can go up to maybe F3. So this way, you can easily bypass the ledge. Of course, you can pre-carve the instrument. This is a small ledge. This is number 10. 15. Because of the number 15K file has pyramid depth. That's why it's very difficult to get over the ledge. So this is ProTaper S1. Because of the biconical tip, you can get over the ledge into the original canal. Don't rotate the file. Just use in a straight line, up and down, push and pull motions. Then you will reach the apex. Then go to the next bigger instrument, S1, S2, F1, F2, F3. This is S2. Do the same. You don't have to pre-carve the tip. You just use it. Don't rotate the file. Just use small up and down motion. Then you can get over the ledge. And the ledge is being removed as you use bigger instrument. Then you will use F1, F2, up to F3. This is F1. If you do the same, then you can use whatever you like. So the key to success in bypassing the ledge is to maintain the pre-carve. So don't use bigger instrument, because even if you pre-carve the tip, the pre-carve will be straightened in a smaller root canal. So let me show you a video here. Oh, sorry, let me go back. So this is number 25K file, pre-carved. I'm not going to rotate the file. This is the ledge, and this is the original canal. Because I'm using size 25, too big. So the pre-carve will be straightened in a small canal. This instrument is too big to get into the original canal. So don't start with a bigger instrument. Always start with a smaller instrument so you can get into the ledge. I'm sorry, you can get into the original canal. So no, don't get into the ledge. And there are actually two kinds of nickel titanium instrument that I use, depending on which technique I use. So one is R-phase nickel titanium instrument. I use R-phase nickel titanium instrument for slow rotation technique, because you need to rotate, for example, the TF. TF is R-phase nickel titanium instrument. You need to pre-carve it, but this is austenitic instrument, R-phase austenitic instrument. So even if you bend it, it will return to a straight line. So you have to permanently deform the instrument by bending it to maybe 180 degrees, not just 30 degrees, 45 degrees. If you bend it to 180 degrees, maybe it will go back to 40 degrees or maybe 30 degrees. So this way, you can permanently pre-carve the tip of the TF. And if you rotate the file more than 360 degrees, it will not return to the normal straight line. That's why if you want to use slow rotation technique, it's better to use R-phase nickel titanium instrument, which is more resistant to fracture than normal austenitic nickel titanium instrument. However, if you want to use a T-mode, I want to use martensitic phase nickel titanium instrument, because with the T-mode technique, I just use 90-degree watch winding, so I can maintain the pre-carve. The pre-carve I create will not be returned to the normal straight line, because you can maintain the pre-carve as long as you use 90-degree watch winding. Once you get into the original canal, then I will use the reciprocating motion to instrument the original canal. When you use the slow rotation technique and you get into the original canal, after getting into the original canal, if you use the TF with the pre-carve, the instrument will be stressed. That's why I don't like the slow rotation technique, because you could fracture the instrument. But as long as you are using multisynthetic phase instrument, even after getting into the original canal over the ledge, the instrument not be stressed when you use reciprocating motion. That's why the T mode is safer and more predictable. So I want to use multisynthetic phase nickel titanium instrument when I want to use the T mode technique. I use 90-degree watch winding until I get into the original canal. After getting into the original canal, I want to use the reciprocating motion, which is 380 degrees clockwise, 50 degrees counterclockwise at 150 RPM to instrument the original canal. This is what I do. So this is the slow rotation technique. This is very simple. Everybody can do this. So simply use pre-curved R-phase nickel titanium instrument and rotate it at 100 RPM, but sometimes 50 RPM. Then you can get into the original canal. So let me show you how you can do this. So this is the ledge, and this is the original canal. It's rotating at 2000 RPM. So 2000 RPM is too fast to get into the original canal. But the pre-curve will not be straightened because this is permanently pre-curved. So let's try 1000 RPM. This is 1000 RPM. It's still too fast to get into the original canal. So let's try 500 RPM, like this. 500 RPM seems to be too fast to get into the original canal. You can see the pre-curve didn't return to the straight line. So let's try 300 RPM. 300 RPM is still too fast to get into the original canal. So let's try 100 RPM. Is it slow enough to get into the original canal? Let's see. It's slowly rotating in the canal. Now I got into the original canal. So 100 RPM with a pre-curved R-phase nickel titanium instrument can allow you to get into the original canal. So use R-phase pre-curved nickel titanium instrument at 100 RPM or less. This is very simple. However, I recommend this technique, T-mode technique. As I told you, with a T-mode, you can control two different motions by clicking on the button here. If you just push this button, you can change from one rotation to the next rotation. I start with the 90-degree watch winding motions. After I get into the original canal, I use the second motion, that is reciprocating motion, to safely instrument the original canal. And this study showed reciprocating motion is the safest to prevent the ledge formation and instrument fracture. So actually, this study showed the reduced angle of 70 degrees clockwise, 30 degrees counterclockwise motions, reciprocating motion, significantly increased the time to fracture for all instruments compared to the reciprocation angle more than 150 degrees clockwise and 30 degrees counterclockwise. So in conclusion, 90-degree to 90-degree reciprocating motion is the safest according to this study. This is my conclusion. So that's why I want to start with 90-degree clockwise and 90-degree counterclockwise reciprocating motion, I mean watch winding motion. So I can say, because think about this. If you just rotate 90-degree clockwise and 90-degree counterclockwise, how could you possibly fracture the instrument? It's impossible. And you can maintain the pre-curve with just 90-degree watch winding. So as soon as you get into the original canal, click the button to use the second motion, reciprocating motion. So look at this. You see the crazy curvature here. There's no ledge, but usually if you just rotate the file, you can easily fracture the instrument. This is 90-degree curvature. So let me show you how you can use the T mode. I will start with the 90-degree watch winding until I pass the greatest curvature. This curvature, sorry. Here. So until I pass the greatest curvature or the midpoint of the curve, then I will use the reciprocating motion. You can measure the length to the midpoint of the curve. So that way, you know you pass the midpoint. So I'm going to use. So first of all, always start with number 3 GG bar. This is number 3 GG bar. Actually, this is one of my demonstration, live demonstration. So I'm speaking. So that's why I muted. So this is number 3 GG bar. Then you can use number 3 GG bar in a straight root canal and start brushing against the outer wall to create a funnel shape. Then irrigate the canal. Always irrigate the canal whenever you see debris. Don't keep rotating the file or bar in the presence of debris. Then again, I need more funnel shape. So brushing against the outer wall. Never touch the inner wall. Then irrigate the canal. Then dry the canal. This is live demonstration. This is S1, multi-acidic phase nickel titanium instrument. This is the setting. So I want to use 90-degree watch winding, 90-degree watch winding at 100 RPM. The next motion will be reciprocating motion, 150 RPM, 380 degrees clockwise, and 50 degrees counterclockwise. I want to use reciprocating motion after passing the midpoint of the curve, the greatest point of the curve. So this is 90-degree watch winding. So as long as you are using 90-degree watch winding, you are not going to fracture the instrument. Like this. So after passing the greatest curvature, I'm going to use the reciprocating motion. Just press the button to initiate the second motion. So this is the reciprocating motion. So you can be efficient to instrument the original canal. Then irrigate the canal, and I will go to the next bigger instrument, which is S2. So let me skip this point. Then this is S2. 90-degree watch winding with a small up and down motion. Then after passing the greatest curvature, I'm going to use the second motion. Press the button to initiate the second motion. Now I'm using the reciprocating motion. 380 degrees clockwise and 50 degrees counterclockwise. I have reached the apex. Then I will go to the next bigger instrument, that is S1. Oh, sorry, F1. This is F1. 90-degree watch winding. After passing the midpoint, then I want to use the reciprocating motion. Okay, I push the button. I'm using reciprocating motion. 380 degrees clockwise, 50 degrees counterclockwise at 150 RPM. Then I will go to F2. Before that, you need to irrigate the canal to remove debris. This is F2. Basically, you do the same. Watch winding, 90-degree watch winding, with a small up and down. After passing the greatest curvature, I want to use the second motion. Here we go. This is the reciprocating motion. I'm approaching the apex. I have reached the apex. Then I will use the next last file, F3. This is F3. 90-degree watch winding. Always start with 90-degree watch winding. Then, after passing the midpoint, I want to use the reciprocating motion. 380 degrees clockwise, 50 degrees counterclockwise at 150 RPM. I have reached the apex. So this is how I instrument the crazy curvature without breaking the instrument. So as you can see, so this is the ledge, this is the ledge, and you see the crazy curvature. I use the same technique here. So let me show you how I did it. So this is the retreatment case. You see the apical radiolucency here. Because of that, I needed to retreat the tooth. Whenever you see the calcified canal, I use ultrasonics. But I start with the small K file. This is a micro opener. Whenever I feel sticky, there is a space in the canal. So EDTA, then I'm going to use, this is S1, ProTaper S1. This is not maltensthetic, austenitic. I use, because the curvature is not great, less than 30 degrees. So in that case, I want to use austenitic nicotitanium instrument, not maltensthetic. But I'm using the same technique. I'm using 90-degree watch winding until I pass the greatest curvature. Then I want to use reciprocating motion. I feel sticky. Like this. But make sure you keep using a small up and down motion. As long as you feel sticky, you are advancing the instrument. If you lose the sticky feeling, then you can go to the next motion, that is reciprocating motion. I'm using the reciprocating motion because I pass the greatest curvature, so I can be more efficient to instrument the original canal. So this way, if you continue doing this, you will reach the apex. So you hear the sound coming from the apex locator. So you hear the sound, beep, 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 beep. That means you reach the apex. So I have reached the apex, and like this. So this is, again, TMO technique. Locate both the ledge and the original canal with the TFRK ME under the microscope and make a funnel shape using number 3 GG bar. You can use 6002 multensthetic phase nicotitanium instrument to enlarge a curved canal. Then use the T mode. Try to bypass the ledge into the original canal. You will always start with 90-degree watch winding until you get into the original canal. If the curvature is less than 30 degrees, you can use normal clockwise rotation. But if it's more than 30 degrees, I want to use reciprocating motion as the second motion in the T mode. So start with the 90-degree watch winding all the time After bypassing the ledge into the original canal, always use reciprocating motion when the curvature is more than 30 degrees. Even the curvature is less than 30 degrees. It's good to use reciprocating motion. It is always safer, but less efficient to instrument the canal. So if the curvature is less than 30 degrees, you can use the reciprocating motion, but it's not efficient. So you can use clockwise rotations. Everything is controlled by the foot pedals. Like this, like this. So I always use 812 MT because it has sonic vibrations. With sonic vibration, you can reduce torsional and cyclic fatigue. And there's a button to activate sonics. This red button can activate sonics. Otherwise, you just push the black button to initiate the first motion, which is 90-degree watch winding. After passing the greatest curvature, you can use the second motion by pushing the black button. You can change the intensity of sonic activation by pushing the yellow button. There are 3 intensities: low, medium, and high. I always use high sonic activation. So let me show you what it looks like. So this is 812 MT. Sorry, not this one. Sorry. I'm sorry. This is about MTA. So techniques again to bypass non-visible ledge with multi-synthetic phase nickel titanium instrument. This is almost the same. Enlarge the canal in a funnel shape. So you will start with number 3 GG bar. Then enlarge the curved canal with number 60 O2 high flex EDM. Whenever you enlarge the curved canal, you need to use reciprocating motion, 380 degrees clockwise and 50 degrees counterclockwise. This is very, very important. Then pre-curve TFRK ME. This is a hand instrument besides Garapacha removable hand instrument. It has tips diameter 0.1 millimeters, and it has 6% taper. So it's very stable, even though the tip size is small, number 10. So I always pre-curve the TFRK ME. ME means micro explorer. So I pre-curve it and press into the canal and look for the original canal. Whenever you are in the original canal, you feel sticky as you get out of the canal. So whenever you feel sticky, I take a radiograph to make sure I'm in the original canal. Then what you have to do next is use ultrasonic tip, TFRKS. Use small up and down motion in the original canal. When you get into the original canal, you will feel sticky again. Whenever you feel sticky, activate ultrasonics only on withdrawal. Whenever you feel sticky, activate ultrasonics on withdrawal. If you keep doing that, you will not create a ledge. You will not perforate the canal. I will show you how to do it later in the video. Then what you have to do is keep doing that. Then you will try, if there is no calcified canal, you will use rotary file. Then you will start with 90-degree watch winding at 100 RPM until you bypass the ledge into the original canal. Once you are in the original canal, start using the reciprocating motion, 380 degrees clockwise, 50 degrees counterclockwise at 150 RPM, depending on the curvature. The more curvature, slower the speed. So here, if you have a ledge like this, do the same, then you can bypass the ledge into the original canal. So pre-curve the instrument, multi-synthetic phase instrument, use 90-degree watch winding until you get into the original canal. How do you know you are in the original canal? You can simply feel sticky on withdrawal. Whenever you feel sticky, take a radiograph. And whenever you are sticky, don't get out, then use the second motion, which is reciprocating motion, to instrument the original canal. This is what I do. And the reciprocating motion extends, as I told you, the cyclic fatigue life. And pecking motion reduces the cyclic fatigue resistance. So you should use both. You should use both pecking and reciprocating motion to instrument the original canal. So this is what I do. I don't want to fracture the instrument in the original canal. I don't want to create a ledge. So that's why the combination of reciprocating motion and pecking motion will reduce the cyclic fatigue resistance. Oh, sorry. Actually, the pecking motion will reduce the cyclic fatigue, not cyclic fatigue resistance. This is a mistake, sorry. It's not good. Let me remove this one. So pecking motion reduces the cyclic fatigue. And reciprocating motion also reduces the cyclic fatigue. On top of that, what is the amplitude of up and down motion, the pecking motion? So this study showed amplitude of 1.3 millimeter resulted in prevention of ledge formation and instrument separation. They tested many amplitudes, like 1.1, 1.15, 1.20, up to 1.40. They concluded 1.35 millimeter amplitude was the best to prevent ledge formation and instrument fracture. So I want to use around, you don't have to be accurate, around 1.35 millimeter amplitude. So that's why I developed this control angle head. As you can see here, on the right, you see a small up and down motion. On the left, there is no up and down motion. So if you use this control angle head with a small up and down stroke, you can prevent ledge formation and you can facilitate instrumenting the curved canal. For example, here, you see the ledge here, but if you use a small up and down motion, you can instrument the small canal with a curvature. So let me show you how you can do this. So here is the ledge. You can see many irregularities on the root canal walls. So if you continue rotating the file without the up and down motions, you will end up being in the ledge, like this. You cannot go over the ledge. But if you simply use small up and down motion, that will facilitate getting over the ledge, especially if you are using an instrument with a biconical tape. This instrument has a biconical tape. So if you use a small up and down motion, you can easily get over the ledge. So now I'm using a small up and down motion. So slowly I'm getting out of the ledge into the original canal. And this is another curvature. This is a double curvature. But if you continue using a small up and down motion, you can go around the next curvature. This is the first curvature, and this is the second curvature. So you can reach the apex without straightening the curved canal. So if you use the same technique, 90-degree watch winding with an instrument with a biconical tape, or with the instrument with a fan-shaped tape, you can easily bypass the ledge. But if you rotate the file just clockwise, you can create a ledge very easily. For example, there is a ledge, small ledge. If you continue using clockwise rotation, okay, simply if you are rotating the file clockwise, you are making it worse. the ledge was bigger now. But if you use only 90-degree watch winding with an instrument with a conical tip, biconical tip, or fan-shaped tip. So this is the instrument with fan-shaped tip. Look at the shape. This is a fan-shaped tip. So you can use the instrument with a fan-shaped tip by using watch winding, 90-degree watch winding. Without pre-carving the instrument, you can get into the you can get into the original canal. Sorry. Again, let me go back. This is an instrument with a fan-shaped tip, 90-degree watch winding with a small up and down motion. Then you can get into the original canal. Once you are in the original canal, I want to use the reciprocating motion. So I press the button to initiate the second motion. So I'm using the reciprocating motion, 380 degrees clockwise and 50 degrees counterclockwise. Then you can reach the apex without creating a ledge, like this. So here is another situation. So make sure you pre-carve the instrument with a small up and down motion. Even if you have a ledge like this, you can easily get into the original canal, sorry. So if you have a ledge, if you don't pre-carve the instrument, you will end up being in the ledge. However, if you pre-carve the instrument, use a 90-degree watch winding until you feel sticky, you can get into the original canal. Once you are in the original canal, you can use the reciprocating motion to instrument the canal. So something like this. Always start with number 3 GG bar. You need to use 6002 multisynthetic phase nickel titanium instrument to enlarge the curved canal. And use TFRK-ME or TFRK-S. Whenever you are in the original canal, you feel sticky on withdrawal. Then you will activate ultrasonics only on withdrawal to enlarge the entrance to the original canal. Then you can use multisynthetic phase nickel titanium instrument to instrument the original canal. What about a situation with calcified canal? This is the same. Start with number 3 GG bar to make a funnel shape. And this is calcified. What would you do if you have a calcified canal, but you have a preoperative lesion? The canal must be cleaned. Because you have a bacteria, that's why you have preoperative lesion. So you need to break into the calcified canal. How? You need to use ultrasonics. But before that, you have to use number 3 GG bar to make a funnel shape. And you need to use 6002 multisynthetic phase nickel titanium instrument to enlarge the curved canal just before the ledge. Then you will take out TFRK-ME followed by S, TFRK-S, ultrasonics. First, you need to locate both the ledge and the original canal and take a radiograph whenever you feel sticky in the original canal. Then use TFRK-S, activate ultrasonics only on withdrawal. Then you can enlarge and you can break the calcified canal, the original canal, like this. You can reach the apex when the ultrasonic tip has a fan-shaped tip. You can keep using the tip until you reach the apex. Actually, you can instrument the original canal with only ultrasonic tip. Let me show you a case. So this is the ledge. As you can see, this is the ledge, and this is the original canal. And this is plastic. You can create a ledge very easily in a plastic tooth. So let me show you. So this is number 3 GG bar to make a funnel shape. This is the most important. Without a funnel shape, this cannot be done. Always brush against outer wall. This is the big ledge, and the curvature is 60 degrees. This is a big curvature. And here comes TFRKS with modified tip. As you can see, the tip design is fan shape. So activate orthosonics only on withdrawal. If you activate orthosonics only on withdrawal, you will not create a ledge. You just keep enlarging the canal. Activate orthosonics on withdrawal. And you can go deeper and deeper if you keep activating orthosonics only on withdrawal. Then you will reach the apex in a shorter time. Because I'm always connected to an apex locator. So I know where I am. So if you keep doing this without creating a ledge, you can reach the apex. Look at the curvature. This is 60-degree curvature. But I didn't create a ledge. I'm using orthosonics. You know, with orthosonics, you can be very, very aggressive. Now I reach the apex. Look, I reach the apex. So this can be done very easily if you activate orthosonics only on withdrawal. So here is a situation. You see the patient was symptomatic. And there was no preparation here because of the calcified canal. This part is calcified, but you see the apical radiolucency just below the buccal canal. So I use the orthosonic tape. I activated orthosonics only on withdrawal. Let me show you what I did. So this is TFRKS, pre-curved. So I feel sticky. You have to make sure you feel sticky on withdrawal. Then next time, activate orthosonics on withdrawal. You hear the sound, right? So I only activate orthosonics when I leave the space. So if you keep doing this, you will reach the apex without creating a ledge. But in this case, I see the space 2 millimeter apical to the calcified canal. So all I have to do is just break 2 millimeter calcified canal. After that, I can use the rotary file. Then irrigate the canal to remove debris. So if you keep doing this, I want to use multi-synthetic phase instrument, S1. I always start with 90-degree watch binding. This is S1 in multi-synthetic phase. Look, I'm using small up and down motion. This part is very important. You need to use both pegging and also reciprocating motion. You can prevent ledge formation and instrument separation. So up and down, and I'm using 90-degree watch binding. This is the safest to instrument the crazy curvature. If you don't want to fracture the instrument, continue using the 90-degree watch binding. It takes time. It's not efficient, but you don't want to break the file. So that's why you can keep using these motions. You can hear the sound coming from the apex locator. I'm approaching the apex. If you have arrived at the apex locator will tell you by beeping, beep, 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 something like that. Look, I have reached the apex. The sound suddenly changed. So after that, I took a radiograph with the two instruments, one in the buccal, the other one in the lingual. Then I obturated the canal with MTA. It looks straight, but it's not straight. It's like this. But from the buccal to lingual direction, it looks straight, but if it was not. That's why you need to take CBCT. Without taking a CBCT, you have no idea what's happening. So in this case, there's a ledge. Look, this is the ledge. And this is the original canal. And this is the original canal. So this is the ledge. Completely, the dentist missed the original canal. So I use the same technique. I use the orthosonic tip, TFRKS, pre-curved, and let me show you what I did in this case. First, you need to make a treatment plan. And this is the original canal, and this is the original canal. I knew it was there. First, you need EDTA. Make sure you feel sticky. This is TFRKS. Whenever I feel sticky, I activate orthosonics as I leave the space. If you continue doing this, you can advance the tip into the apical direction. So if you keep doing this, you see debris, I will irrigate the canal. Whenever I see debris, I want to irrigate the canal. I'm also connected to the apex locator, so I know where I am. Then I want to irrigate the canal with EDTA and do the same. Okay, you hear the sound. I have reached the apex. I didn't use the rotary file. I just used the orthosonic tip, small one, TFRKS. That's all I used. So after that, of course, I use rotary files, but I use them in reciprocating motion, 380 degrees clockwise and 50 degrees counterclockwise. And I take a radiograph with TFRKS placed in the original canal. So this is the radiograph I took. Then I finished the case, MTA. So again, this is how you bypass the ledge. Enlarge the canal in a funnel shape using number 3 GG bar. Enlarge the curved canal with 6002 multi-synthetic phase nickel titanium instrument. Locate the original canal. You feel sticky whenever you are in the original canal. Activate orthosonics only on withdrawal. After removing the calcified canal, you can use multi-synthetic phase nickel titanium instrument, but you must use the T-mode technique. Start with 90-degree watch winding at 100 RPM until you get into the original canal. Once you are in the original canal, you feel sticky. Then you can use reciprocating motion to instrument the original canal. What about the double curvature canal? What will happen? In this situation, basically you do the same. I have many cases of this. I only receive challenging cases. I don't have any easy cases because many colleagues, sometimes even endodontists, send the patient to me. So if you have a ledge around the second curve, this is considered the challenging. I think the most challenging because the ledge is not visible under the microscope. So you have to depend on your tactile sensation. Whenever you feel sticky, take a radiograph to make sure you are in the original canal. Basically, you have to start with number 3 GG bar to make a funnel shape. After that, enlarge the curved canal using 6002 high-flex EDM. Then use small size multi-synthetic phase nickel titanium instrument with a fan shape tip, or at least biconical tip. Use small up and down motion until you get into the original canal. How do you know you are in the original canal? You feel sticky as you get out of the canal. Once you feel sticky, don't get out. Press the button to initiate second motion, that is reciprocating motion, 380 degrees clockwise, 50 degrees counterclockwise at 150 RPM. This way, you can safely instrument the original canal beyond the ledge. So let me show you the video. Actually, I will do the demo for this. So you see the ledge. This is the double curvature canal. This is the first curve, and this is the second curve. You see the ledge just beyond the second curve. This is very difficult. If you simply press a file, you can end up being in the ledge. Always start with number 3 GG bar to make a funnel shape. I'm brushing against the outer wall. This is the outer wall against the first curvature. Irrigate canal, always irrigate canal whenever you see debris. And this is 3504 nickel titanium instrument to enlarge the curved canal just before the ledge. I want to use 90-degree watch winding followed by reciprocating motion, 380 degrees clockwise, 50 degrees counterclockwise at 150 RPM. This is 4004 multi-synthetic phase nickel titanium instrument. I'm using 90-degree watch winding followed by reciprocating motion. Here comes F3. I'm using, sorry. Oh my God. I'm using 90-degree watch winding followed by reciprocating motion. So here comes the new file with a fan-shaped tip. I'm using 90-degree watch winding. Of course, I pre-curved the instrument. But as long as you are using 90-degree watch winding, you can maintain the pre-curve. Actually, I'm in the original canal. When you are in the original canal, you feel sticky. So this way, you can instrument the original canal. Once you are in the original canal, you feel sticky. Then you will initiate the second motion by pressing the button. Now I'm using reciprocating motion, 380 degrees clockwise and 50 degrees counterclockwise at 150 RPM. I continue using this motion until I reach the apex. This is how you bypass the ledge around the second curve. Then you will go to the next bigger instrument. Sometimes I use sonics to reduce the torsional fatigue and cyclic fatigue because I don't want to stress the instrument. The sonics is very good to reduce both the cyclic and torsional fatigue. So here is a ledge. There is a broken instrument, but there is a ledge. Look at the projection from the original canal. So this is the ledge, and this is original canal. In the original canal, you have a broken instrument. I remove the broken instrument in 3 minutes because I know how to do it. Tomorrow, I will show you how to remove the instrument in 3 minutes. Because this instrument is only 2 millimeters, less than 3 millimeters. Any broken instrument less than 3 millimeters can be removed in 300 seconds. Then after that, I bypass the ledge. So let me show you how I bypass the ledge. So here is a pre-curved nickel titanium instrument. 90-degree watch winding with a small up and down motion. I feel sticky, then I initiated the second motion, reciprocating motion. So you need to depend on your tactile sensation. Whenever I feel sticky, I will use second motion, reciprocating motion. This is how I instrument the canal. So this is the next file, next bigger instrument, number 25. So if you keep doing this, you can instrument the original canal. You can finish the preparation for the curved canal. And this is immediate post-op. I filled the canal with MTA. Look at beautiful curvature. I didn't sacrifice the lot of denting to remove the broken instrument to bypass the ledge. You can do the same if you follow the protocol. You can stay minimally invasive. This is another case. You see the original canal. This is the original canal. You can see the black line. But this is the ledge with the perforation. So how do you do that? How do you get into the original canal? The same technique. If you use the same technique, you can get into the original canal. You can instrument the created curvature with a 90-degree watch winding. 90-degree watch winding. If you are afraid of breaking the instrument, continue using the 90-degree watch winding. You don't have to use the reciprocating motion. But if you are short-tempered, you can use the reciprocating motion. But make sure you use small up and down motion together with the reciprocating motion. If not, continue using the 90-degree watch winding. You can also instrument the original canal with a big curvature, more than 30 degrees. So this is immediate post-op. You see the original canal and also the ledge canal completely filled with MTA. And this is 3 months post-op showing nice periapical healing as compared to the pre-op radiolucency. Another case, there are many ledges together with a broken instrument. Here you see, where is my cursor? Here. You see the broken instrument, and this is the ledge. This is not original canal. The original canal is here. The two here, you see the Garapacha cones placed in the ledge, here and here. And this is the broken instrument. And you see the original canal, and this is the ledge. The previous dentist was not able to get into the original canal because of the abrupt curvature. And you see the internal root resorption here, this one. It's very complicating. So I use the same technique. First, I remove the broken instrument with a loop. I took a radiograph, and I use a technique to bypass the ledge into the original canal. This is immediate post-op. And this is 3 months post-op, already showing nice, This is 6 months this is 3 months, and this is 6 months post-op, showing nice periapical healing as compared. Let me go back. You see the big region here, big region around the medial root. You see another region on the distal root. But look here, you see nice periapical healing around the medial root. You see nice, this is internal root resorption. Look at the balloon filled with MTA. You see nice periapical healing. This is the ledge, and this is the original canal. You can completely bypass the ledge with the T-mode technique. Another one, this is a double curvature with a big region like this, big region. And you see untreated root canal. I use the same technique. This is the ledge, and this is the original canal. This is the original canal. Then I filled the root canal with MTA together with the ledge. Ledge canal was also filled with MTA. Look, remember the big region around the root. And this is 36 months post-op. You see nice periapical healing as compared to the pre-op radiolucency. This is the original canal, and this is MTA. I always push MTA beyond the apical foramen. always, overfill the root canal. You see nice periapical healing. MTA is highly biocompatible. Nothing will happen. Actually, MTA induces osteoblastic activities. Another case, you see the periapical radiolucency, and you see the red. Actually, the apical foramen on the mesial root was opened on the distal root. On the distal side. This is the distal, and this is the mesial. So you have ledge in the distal root canal. But this case was easy because I was able to see the original canal. So I got into the original canal for the mesial root. I also was able to get into the original canal in the distal root. And this is immediate post-op. And you see nice periapical healing. And here, another one. You see the apical foramen opened towards here, towards the distal side. This is distal, and this is the mesial. So you see the apical foramen is not at the apex. Instead, you see the apical foramen opens towards the distal side. So I bypass the ledge using the same technique, and this is immediate post-op. Look at the feelings. So summary for bypassing non-visible ledge. No lesion, no canal, no treatment is necessary. Whenever you see the lesion, you have to do something about it. Locate both the ledge and the original canal after enlarging the canal in a funnel shape. And locate the original canal. If it's not visible, how do you know you are in the original canal? You have to depend on your tactile sensation. Whenever you feel sticky, always take a radiograph. Then, if you are in the original canal, activate ultrasonics on withdrawal. Then you can enlarge the entrance to the original canal. If it's not calcified, then you can use rotary instrument, starting with 90-degree Watts winding. After getting into the original canal, use the reciprocating motion, 380 degrees clockwise, 50 degrees counterclockwise at 150 RPM. Of course, the more curvature, the slower the speed. Then you will reach the apex. Then you will go to the next bigger instrument. The same thing. So if you are interested, I have still 2 courses available in Japan in my teaching facilities. So I have a course on broken fan removal on July 31st. I have another course on challenging broken fan removal on August 3, where I go around the world. Thank you very much, and I will do the demo if you like.